So it's like 1:30 in the morning, and I noticed this really bright light outside. Guys, that's the moon. Look at that. Wow. That's so cool. Also, there was a huge explosion after dinner, like a loud bang in the sky. And everyone's saying it was a meteor. Pretty wild. Just wanted to share that with you all. So today is Sunday, May 31st, 2026, the day after the sonic boom from the meteorite exploding into our Earth. I'm happy that we are not extinct. And I'm going to celebrate a little bit with some gluten-free lemon cake with lemon cream cheese frosting. This gluten-free lemon cake is a moist, zesty cake topped with tangy lemon cream cheese frosting, perfect for spring gatherings or summer desserts. I can't wait to try this, guys. I got this off healthline-store.com. That's what the cake is going to look like when it's done. I might do a bundt cake though. And the recipe's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all my ingredients and I'll meet you in the kitchen. So the first thing it says to do is to use a gluten-free flour that has xanthan gum in it. So I'm going to use my King Arthur gluten-free measure for measure flour. I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I've already got my 2 cups in my mixing bowl. This is my 3rd cup. So we'll add that in. Next, you're going to need 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. There's my 1. Still can't get over that a meteorite crashed yesterday into the Earth. I mean, I know it happens all the time, but that sonic boom was really loud. All right, what's next? A 1/2 teaspoon, another 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. So that was my 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Now I need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking powder and baking soda, 2 different things. Put the lid on so I know I've already used it. So 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then I'll need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Go grab my salt. Let's see here. This is salt. Go ahead and put a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm making a mess, but that's okay. I'll clean it up. All right, got my 1/2 teaspoon of salt. A little bit more. Yeah, I just made a huge mess. I assaulted the table. All right, here we go. What else do we need? 1 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. All right, so I just cleaned up my salt off the table. Next, we're going to do 1 3/4 cup of sugar. And this is all from scratch, guys. I usually don't cook from scratch, but I'm forcing myself to be productive today. Now I'm pouring sugar all over the table. And what do you know? This little package from Dollar Tree is exactly 1 3/4 cup of sugar. That's crazy. I have just enough. All right, pour that in. I need 1 cup of butter or dairy-free butter and 3 large eggs. All right, so I was supposed to put the sugar in separate, but that's okay. I'm just going to mix this all together because the wet ingredients needed to be mixed with the sugar, but I'm doing it a little differently. It's all going to get mixed together anyway, so I'm not worried. So all my dry ingredients are now mixed, including the accidental sugar placement. And now I'm going to mix my butter with my eggs and whatever else I need. All right, so that's all mixed. The butter is all done. I hope. I had to microwave it. Let's check it out. Yep, this is my butter. And that is actually 2 cups of butter,
Only
guys.
use 1 cup of
Some
butter,
of it is still
not
kind of
2.
melting
1 cup
on the
of butter.
bottom. So that's a lot of butter. Holy moly. But that's what the recipe says, so we're going to try it. All right, so it says, in a large mixing bowl, beat the butter and sugar with a hand mixer or stand mixer until creamy and well combined, about 1 to 2 minutes. And then add the eggs and vanilla extract. All right, so we're going to put the butter, the eggs, and the vanilla together in this bowl right here. Let's do that. I'm going to pour my butter in here. Flop. Get this out of the way so I don't make a mess. And then our eggs. So I'm going to need, I think they said 3 eggs. 3 large eggs. You know, with all the AI stuff out, there should be an easier way to follow instructions when you're trying to read ingredients. All right, ready? There's 1. 2. And 3. I can't remember the last time I baked a cake from scratch. It is very time consuming. Get rid of those. Okay, so those are my eggs. And the vanilla extract, we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I just have from Spice Supreme. And I need 2 teaspoons. So where's my teaspoon? There's my teaspoon. There's 1. And 2. All right, there's my vanilla. We're going to mix this all up because that's what it says to do. In a large mixing bowl, beat the butter and sugar with a hand mixer or stand mixer until creamy and well combined. I'm just going to use my handy dandy whisk. Butter, eggs, There should be sugar in here too, guys, but I accidentally put it in my dry mix. Okay, so and then we're going to gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet mixture on low speed. All right, and then we're going to add the milk, lemon zest, and lemon juice. So for some reason my audio wasn't working here. So what I did was I had to make some lemon zest, and I had a hard time doing it. I had to change my zest grater. As you can see, I'm trying really hard to zest this lemon and it's not working. So I ended up getting another grater in my cupboard. Yeah, I wasn't getting anything out of that. So here what I'm showing you is I'm telling you that you need to put 1 packed tablespoon of lemon zest, which is grating about 2 lemons. Here you see I have the grater, and I have more success with this larger type of grater. I needed to use the larger holes to really zest my lemon. So 1 packed tablespoon of lemon zest.
It's kinda overwhelming, but hey, lemons make lemonade, flowers bloom in the rain. Growing up is a pain, and it is what it is, okay? It's not the end of the world, there's always light where it burns.
So this is where I'm showing you guys that you need the 1 packed tablespoon of lemon zest, and I only needed to use 1 lemon. So this is where I'm showing you guys that you need the 1/3 cup of fresh lemon juice, which is juicing 2 lemons, but you want to remember to zest your lemons before juicing them. Very important. Zest your lemons before juicing, and you're going to cut each lemon in half, and then like I'm doing right here, just go ahead and juice that lemon. You can see the seeds that are coming out. We don't want seeds. So I'm going to have to strain this juice. And over here, I'm showing you guys that we need 1/3 cup of fresh lemon juice, which is juicing about 2 lemons, but you want to zest your lemons before juicing them. So there's 1/3 cup of fresh lemon juice, which is about 2 lemons. And here's my second lemon. Do you see the seeds? You're going to want to strain your juice in a strainer before adding it to your mixture, because you definitely don't want to be eating seeds in your cake. So here I'm showing you guys that I'm going to be taking this strainer to strain my lemon juice. There's the strainer, and there's my 1/3 cup. And there you have it. There's your 1/3 cup of fresh lemon juice. And by the way, this smelled delicious while I was preparing it. There's nothing like fresh lemon, fresh ingredients. What is your favorite recipe made by scratch? Do you take the time and make things by scratch, or you do like just prepared boxed baked goods? I usually don't have time to prepare anything by scratch, but I had the entire day off and I got motivated to do this. All right, so I'm looking up the recipe here and I'm trying to figure out what I need to do next. And that's going to be adding the milk, the lemon juice, and the zest to our mix. So I added the butter mixture, and then I'm going to add everything else. I definitely need to get a new mixer because this one is old and it doesn't spin itself, so I have to take the time to spin the bowl or it won't mix everything together. So one day I will definitely get a mixer that's a little bit higher quality, but for now this will do. So I'm going to slowly add the milk and then the lemon zest and the lemon juice. It says to mix until just combined and that the batter will be thick. You also want to make sure that you have your pans already prepared, because what you're going to do next is put all the batter into your prepared pans and bake at 350 degrees for 30 minutes total, 25 minutes altogether. What you want to do is check them after 25 minutes and then lightly cover with foil and bake an additional 5 minutes. Alright guys, so this is where I start transferring my batter to my pan. I'm using a bundt cake pan because I didn't have the 9-inch round pans that the recipe called for. And that's okay. You can use whatever pan that you have. You just need to keep an eye on your baking times. If you were to use the two 9-inch cake pans, you're going to divide your batter in half. Where I'm using a bundt cake pan, so I'm putting all of my batter into this prepared pan. Also, the bundt cake is going to have to be baked a bit longer than the two 9-inch cake pans. So if you're using two 9-inch cake pans, make sure you bake your cakes for 30 minutes total and then check them after 25 minutes. I had to bake this cake for 45 minutes before it was fully cooked. So make sure your oven is at 350 degrees. And I initially set my timer for 30 minutes. I do check my bundt cake and have to cook it for an additional 15 minutes. I want to show you what it looks like. And we have a bundt cake. I'm not sure if this is done. It smells absolutely delicious. All right, I think it's almost done. So we're going to test this out and I'll be back in 1 minute. So as I thought, I need another 15 minutes on that cake, just because it needs to be in there for at least 45 minutes, I think, for a bundt cake. So 15 more minutes and we'll check again. In the meantime, we're going to prepare our ingredients for our frosting. And I'm going to need 1 pound box of confectionery sugar, which is approximately 3 3/4 of a cup. So I've got my 1 cup here. I'm going to add all my sugar. And I did take my dog out for a walk, so he's all set. Now he's having his lunch. All right, there's 2 cups. This is like a cream cheese frosting. And I'm getting powdered sugar everywhere. There's 3 and 3/4 of a cup. Let's see here. That's about 6 ounces. I used almost this whole bag of powdered sugar. All right, that's good. That is a lot of sugar, guys. All right, that's what it says. So I'm gonna mix a 1/2 cup of butter with 8 ounces of cream cheese. I'm gonna go throw that in the mixer. Here's my cream cheese. So again, I give you guys props. If you guys cook from scratch, it's a lot of work. All right, there's the cream cheese. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I need to soften up my butter, so I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So I need a teaspoon of vanilla and 1/4 of a teaspoon of lemon extract, which I don't have lemon extract, so I'm going to add just some of this lemon juice. I'm going to add a little bit more just for flavor. Don't know how that's going to turn out, but that's okay. And there's my butter. And I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this. All right, we're mixing our frosting. All right, that's what we're dealing with. Look how creamy and smooth this frosting is. I did end up adding the 1/3 cup of lemon juice just because I didn't have vanilla extract, and it did help bring this frosting together. That's what it looks like, guys. And this is what I look like. I am going to try some. Oh yeah. Wow. So good. All right, I gotta check this bundt cake. I'll be right back. All right, that bundt cake is all done. I have to let it cool off. It's gonna cool for about 45 minutes before I even try to take it out of the pan. And this was a lot of work, but I can tell you right now from what I'm smelling and just the taste of this homemade frosting. This is cream cheese homemade frosting. You can use non-dairy cream cheese. And I will put a link to the recipe down below. But I can tell you right now, the smells that I'm smelling, I I can guarantee you this is a 10 out of 10 cake. It smells homemade, from scratch, delicious. So I cannot wait to dig into this. What is your favorite homemade recipe from scratch? And leave it in the comment section below. And we'll be back to frost this cake. All right, I got it out of the pan and now it is cooling. It smells wonderful. I'm going to set my timer for about 30 minutes, come back to it, and if it's cool enough, I'll frost it. I have a feeling I'll need about 45 minutes to completely cool this cake before I frost it, but I cannot wait to try this. All right, so I started frosting this cake. It took forever. Just getting the insides. And I'm ready to try a bite. Definitely ready to eat this. I think that's enough frosting. It's definitely well frosted, that's for sure. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, here is the final product. We're going to slice into this yummy cake and we're going to give it a try. That looks absolutely delicious. All right, let's try it. I still have a lot of frosting left too, so I can put that away. Homemade from scratch. It was a lot of work. Totally worth it. So, so good. The best cake I've had ever in my life, probably. This is delicious. For a gluten-free cake, if you have the time, definitely try out this recipe. 10 out of 10 delicious. Thanks for joining me today. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 500 viewers and I'm not even halfway there, so the more the merrier. Take care, everyone.